Hello and welcome back to Glass Slipping with YouTube's Carrie and a guy who really doesn't like the question, where were you on January 6th? We are here today. We had a guest prepared and
he fucking canceled.
He did cancel, but that's okay. You know, we make adjustments.
It'll be okay with you. I'm just kidding. I'm not mad. It's not okay with me. But.
So we are doing a podcast on the fly today.
It's cocktail hour.
It is cocktail hour. And by cocktails, we mean hazy IPAs.
2 beers, yeah.
But
Jamie's having a glass of lovely wine over there. And we're chilling. I'm so tired. I'm feeling so tired today.
Yeah, I feel you. Drank a cup of coffee at like 3:30 because I was exhausted already from the day.
Yeah.
And was like, all right, we got to power through. We're filming an evening podcast. It's going to be fine. And so we're here.
We are doing it, yeah. For the sake of consistency for all of you people.
You're about to have like a pretty wild weekend.
I really am, Pete. I really am.
You want to tell the people what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm going to Vegas on Friday.
Going to Comic-Con tomorrow.
I'm going to Comic-Con tomorrow, yeah. I'm going to Comic-Con tomorrow. Me and Jamie will be leaving here at what we believe to be 11:30. She said she doesn't know, but these are the things I rely on her for because I cannot keep anything straight. And I'm signing the book tomorrow from 1 to 2 at Comic-Con. And then I'm flying to Vegas on Friday. I'll be there till Tuesday, playing When We Were Young Fest and doing a lot of other things also.
What other things?
I'm just doing some side shows, and we're doing I'm playing it's all When We Were Young adjacent, but there's just so much.
So you fly Friday, you perform
Saturday morning, yeah.
Oh,
Truly morning.
So what time do you get into Vegas?
9:30 on Friday.
Vegas time?
Yeah.
And then like 12 hours later you're at the festival, like 14 hours later you're performing approximately?
I would say about 12 and a half hours I'm performing at 10:30.
10:30 festival
Sorry,
slot?
10:55. Excuse me. The doors are at 10:30. My set is at 10:55.
That's so brutal. At least I guess the Vegas heat will hopefully have not set in that heavy by 10:55.
The heat is the least of my concern. The heat is truly the least of my concern.
Have you ever had to scream at 10:50 in the morning before?
No.
I'm
curious.
For sure. I was going to say excited for you, but I don't know if that's the right way to describe it.
I'm curious. I'm going with curious energy.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, there's nothing super crazy in our set, so I'm not really worried about my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not doing King for a Day.
Okay.
This will come out afterwards, so it's not a spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing King for a Day for a lot of reasons, but mostly it's just like they're going to hear Pierce the Veil do it 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Why would we do it? You know?
I understand.
Fact check correction. It's actually 7 hours later.
Why would they hear Pierce the Veil do it 7 hours later? We've been fact checked.
They're doing it 7 hours later? Is that what you're saying?
Your set is at 10:55 a.m. and their set is at 6:50 or 6:25.
She's so right.
That's 6.5, 7.
So yeah, they could hear it twice in 7 hours, but why? You know?
Why?
Not worth it.
What is the earliest you've ever had to do a Daisy show?
Daisy show? God, like a Dave's maybe in the day at like
2 or
2:30 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's true. Sad Summer was 2:30. But you're up so early that it starts to just all feel like the evening.
Yeah,
10:55 will not under any circumstances feel like the evening.
Yeah, especially coming off a flight and.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
What time is load in that morning?
7.
So you guys aren't sleeping, doing huge show in terms of the scale of When We Were Young.
And I think we have like 8 interviews or something crazy like that during the day.
Throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Whose sets are you excited to see if you're able to?
God, so many. But well, Pete, I wish that I could see any of the other women, but in fact they are all playing at the same time, which was an interesting call to make. So I was really excited to see Car, but Car will be playing at the exact same time as us. So I will not get to see her set. I won't get to see Millionaires, which I was really excited about. Tonight Alive or Against the Current. But I'm going to go see Cassidy Pope, who's in the band Hey Monday. Obviously, I have no feelings about all the women playing at the same time together all first.
No thoughts whatsoever.
No,
We
don't have any thoughts on that. I'm really excited to see Hey Monday. I'm really excited to see Say Anything. A Day to Remember. I'm really excited about Pierce the Veil, obviously. My Chemical Romance is playing through the Black Parade in full.
Did
you know that?
I didn't know that. I remember seeing some stuff about original albums being played or like certain albums being played.
My Chemical Romance is playing top to bottom the Black Parade.
That's so crazy.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. They are playing at 10:40 p.m., which is exactly 12 hours after I play.
You're going to have an awesome day. That's going to be so fun for you, especially after flying the whole day and then just like meeting idols of yours, doing interviews, let's not forget, it's going to be Las Vegas. So it's going to be like
with all press in the middle of the day.
It's going to be like 94 degrees.
I think it's actually supposed to be relatively cool, right?
Yeah, it's in like the 70s.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That is surprising for Vegas, but we
But
love
thank
to see
God.
it. Yeah. Oh my God.
God loves My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, truly.
Yep. And then, Pete, here's another thing. And here's something else.
Okay.
Is that I will be going to do a sideshow and DJing an emo night at, say it with me, midnight on Saturday.
I feel like we have dropped the ball on not reaching out to Red Bull yet, because this feels like a day that should be sponsored by Red Bull.
Yeah, maybe we can work on that, James. Maybe that'll be our goal.
Put it on Jamie's slate right now, 2 days before the festival. She's got nothing else going on.
Come on, James. We'll figure it out.
We can make a call or two. See.
I'm so excited. It's just like
It's gonna be a brutal day though. Like it is
2 days.
2 days. So what does the second day look like?
The same.
So it's just the same exact slate again.
Yep.
That's so cool.
That's so cool. No, I mean, it's obviously like amazing.
But yeah, I wonder, you're DJing at midnight. How long is that set?
30. Longer than my set actually at the festival.
Nice.
Interestingly enough.
But that's just funny. You'll DJ at midnight, you finish 12:30. Conservatively, if you leave 30 minutes after that.
I'm so sorry. Let me back up here. The event starts at 12. I have no idea when we're going on.
Okay, brilliant. So presuming you get on within the first 30 minutes, which it would be insane already.
There are like 8 people.
so wait. For those who can't hear Jamie, because she doesn't know Mike, there are 8 different DJs, approximately. So that means at some point in the couple hours following that, you're gonna do a DJ set.
Sure am.
30-minute DJ set. Then hopefully you go home after that and can go to sleep to your hotel.
Sleepy.
And then you have to be back. Do you load in again? Well, you'll be loaded in.
No, we'll be loaded in. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess.
You won't have to sound check again, I presume.
We'll probably line check again. We're not sound checking.
So that at least though, you're back bright and early for another 10:30 a.m. set.
You bet.
Woo!
Everybody get there early. It won't matter. It'll be over by the time this comes out, but I hope you guys got there early. Praying.
How many of these bands have you played with before? Either on bills with or... I know that's a tough question on the spot, but a couple.
We played with Mayday Parade, Fall Out Boy, The Main, The Wonder Years, Jimmy Eat World.
So what is it like for like the rest of the bill? Because all of these bands are like pretty iconic bands from our childhood, or teenage years, or like... What is that even just being like?
Not me, Pete. I was a baby. I'm 19. I just turned 19. I don't know any of these bands.
We've known each other for too many years for that to be
sorry.
true.
I'm just thinking about starting to lie about my age.
I don't think you need to do that yet.
Okay. Coming from a man. I'm just kidding.
But like, is it when you're playing a festival like this? Do you still feel like, because technically you are then, because you're on the bill, you're associated with the Mike Cam, the like these crazy bands that are performing. Like, what is that experience like? Do you internalize it? Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so hard to like know in the moment because all
Mhm.
you're worried about is just like playing well, you know? But it is cool to be like ingratiated into like a culture. That's for sure. Like that's really cool to be like recognized as like one of the bands that deserves or should be there. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Just because everyone else is so big.
Yeah.
And we are opening the main stage, which is really sick. Yeah, because it's like the set times are much more spaced out and like, yeah, the band right after us is LS Dunes, and then right after us, right after them is Neck Deep.
That's crazy.
So it's just like, that's pretty crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel lucky to have that slot, you know,
Mhm.
even though it is at the crack of dawn. Truly the crack of dawn. But yeah, no, it's so cool. It's really cool also, like, I don't want to hit this too hard because I don't want it to seem like I'm ungrateful or anything, but it is cool, and I am grateful to be among the very, very few female artists that are on this bill.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I'm like, truthfully, like having a bit of a tough time with, honestly, where I'm like,
Tough time in what way?
it's tough for me that the girls were added after outrage on the internet
Mm-hmm.
and not thought of first. And it's an interesting conversation, right? Because it's like all the girls are playing first, except for Hey Monday, which is playing at the exact same time as Fall Out Boy on a far stage.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And you can say like, yeah, well, they're the smallest bands. And it's like, okay, follow that thought to the fucking root. Why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
Why?
not an answer.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit tough for me. I'm kind of grappling with like what that means to like.
Well, it's a weird thing to want to be grateful to be in the position you're in,
Course.
not to like bite the hand that feeds you because
Course
they're
not.
being given such great opportunities,
Yeah.
but also like in the face of backlash, in the face of
Outrage.
yeah, just do you feel any kind of pressure because that is like the product of outrage, or like
No, I don't, because I think that I don't feel pressure because of that. I think we deserve to be there just as every other band deserves to be there.
Mhm.
You know, we're smaller and we're less known, but like I think we can stand up with all of it. I know we're capable of playing a great show at that level. So I'm like, I don't feel pressure in that way. Pressure is like the wrong word. I don't feel pressure about this, but I do feel some type of fucking way about it. That it's like, I said in an interview today, actually, I was like, I don't want anyone to feel like we will be offended if you leave halfway through our set to go catch some of the other women.
yeah.
So I'd like to believe, while it feels like it could be blatant and on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
those people are likely a victim to their own situation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that it likely is not. It's just an afterthought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but not necessarily like not fixable.
It's definitely not fixable.
Yeah.
Like it is definitely fixable.
It's changeable for
It
sure.
is, and
But
it
nothing
is,
happens if we just sit back.
agreed.
So I'm kind of like, worth it to
Mm.
at least bring up.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're any less grateful to be playing. I'm fucking excited and I'm thrilled. It was like it'll be like the biggest thing we've ever done. So sick. But like, that doesn't mean that there aren't things that are like, damn,
Mm.
you know, especially on the basis that this all started, like the festival, adding more people, more women, you know, on the basis that they didn't have enough.
Well, and we talked about that on a previous episode, but that is how you guys ended up on this bill.
I don't really know. I mean, I guess probably. I believe that it was Pete once.
But you were added post.
We were added
criticism.
way post, yeah.
So
Months post.
whether or not it was a direct response, it was clearly a like. It had an effect.
For sure. And that's cool, ultimately. That people are like, feel comfortable enough to be like, hey, what the hell? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And they listened.
Yeah.
Whether or not it had to get pushed or what, I don't really know. I don't know the inner workings of those things. That's not my job. But like, you know, it worked. So.
And it's also, these are, even if the people organizing it are really great people or really on top of it or really diligent and like for the cause,
Totally.
these are huge systems that also require so much administrative management. When you
So
think about
much.
just how many different bands are operating on different schedules with different chains of command and different people who operate those schedules from a management level, and just like there are just so many balls in the air that being any singular voice against that system is automatically like a person against a giant brick wall.
Totally.
So it's not like these things are going to change overnight on a pure like you. It is the ability to speak out, make adjustment. Okay, that is better, but now
we
this
still
is the
have
thing
further
that
to
is the
go.
problem. Like
Right.
now maybe we look at how we're setting this up so not all of the women are playing against each other.
Right.
Great. That in the next
Iteration. Of it.
iteration is something that is just on the mind of the person.
Sure.
organizing,
Even
who
if it's
might-
just on the mind.
yes,
you know?
and
Totally.
like it. Sometimes those things can feel hollow because they can be driven by a sense of optics or a sense of backlash or anything, but those are
Just sat in a really weird way, and I was like, "This is not comfortable."
but those are like the first steps in
Moving the ball.
and moving the ball and
Totally.
continuing downfield.
I agree, and I think like I don't know. To me, the vision of this band is a lot about that, and if we can be a voice. I also will say, like, I think if this were to happen to a bunch of male bands, I mean, it wouldn't because they're so like, but you know what I mean? Like, if something like All American Rejects dropped out. I was going to say I don't know why. I do know why, but I'm not going to talk about it. But like, I'm kind of like, they don't feel uncomfortable pushing up against the new management of When We Were Young and saying, we're not going to do it because you couldn't fulfill what we needed.
But they are also big enough that like them losing When We Were Young as an opportunity does not, other than people being upset this weekend, does not color their future opportunities, their relationships with their fans. Like I think that inherently people at the bottom speaking up is a much larger risk and requires a lot more strength of conviction and strength of self, because it is so much easier to get into a pissing contest when you
when you're not
worried about
what you're
the
losing.
financial implications on the other side, or when your house is paid for.
I also honestly feel like just a duty to my own fans, because I think they would expect us to say something, you know?
Yeah.
Where like, if we just were like, it's cool, it's all good, like whatever. And ultimately it is, you know, what are we going to do? Nothing. And it ultimately is fine and will be great. It'll be great. But like, I see these kids noticing these things, young women and girls, and feeling a certain way. And I would lie to them. I would be lying to them if I said I didn't agree. And I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of like looking more amiable.
Yeah.
If you listen to my music, I'm not fucking amiable. Not an amiable person. So I'm like, I don't think like, I'm sorry, but like, I think that's what people like about us. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not willing to like compromise not saying something that I do feel genuinely and that I do agree with genuinely for the sake of looking like I don't even know what, you know? And I'm lucky in that way, I think, because of the kind of music that we make, that people expect that kind of thing out of us, which is really cool. Whereas like someone like, not to bring it back to Chapel, it always comes back to Chapel, but like,
well, she is at the top of the world right now.
Of course. But I'm like the kind like, yeah, I mean, she's like a pop star, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think has different implications than the music that we make.
I don't even think it's that. I just think that like she has reached a like point of fame meeting, because like there are videos of her performing like Pink Pony Club, whatever, to crowds that are not very big 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Versus like
a year ago she was doing like 500 cap rims.
And she could show up in any city in America, but also like many cities around the world and sell
a stadium.
Yeah, like
totally.
Yeah, it is. There are very few people who get onto those types of waves, and there are very few people who at the top of that wave, like, can balance and still be impressive. Like, which I think is why everything, like, it's hard not to talk about her because she is handling so much shit being thrown at her.
But she's also new enough to all of this that I do think that she has something to lose.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's like important that there are people, and like there are people out there being like, shut up and be grateful. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah. And but it's also like, you can be grateful and still talk. Like, you can be incredibly grateful for what life has given you or what an opportunity has given you, and still recognize when things are out of whack or fucked up or people are being taken advantage of. Or,
in fact, you should. Like,
yeah, like,
if you're not doing that, what the fuck are you
what
doing?
system is perfect?
Yeah,
What opportunity does anyone have, or what world is anyone living in where everything is great?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is. I don't think there is one. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough because like it is on my mind when people ask me about it every time. I'm just like, this hurts my heart.
So you mentioned something there. This is a bit of a shift, but
Sure.
you mentioned your ultimate vision for the band. And I was talking to someone earlier this week about vision setting, because I used to do this more when I was younger, and I haven't in probably 5 or 6 years. So I thought it might be a kind of fun exercise. An
exercise on the pod.
You know what? We had a guest planned, and I was prepared
Were
to
you
do an
really?
interview. I was so prepared.
I didn't
to
know
do this
shit about
interview.
our guests, I'm gonna be honest.
But that is why I was prepared.
Hell yeah.
And
I think he's great, but I just didn't. I didn't know much.
we'll see if we film
I
one
was just
around
gonna kind of
Halloween.
be like a.
But I think that actually
It's a nice dynamic.
Yes, I think it is a
Sure.
good dynamic. I think it worked for like the Joe Serafini interview, where I know Joe really well and you like know him from the television.
So
And-
true. I know him from now. I knew this guy from phone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so like I think that is fun, and
He
will
lives
be
in
a
my
fun
phone.
dynamic in our future interviews if one of us knows the person well and the other person knows them from the phone.
From phone, yeah.
Because it just leads to more interesting questions on both sides.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't think when we reschedule with our guest for today,
I'm not
you
gonna
should
learn
learn more
anything
about
about
him.
him.
I was kind of excited about the fact that I like know a good amount about him and you don't.
Oh, shit.
So we'll get a background to that. But so to the exercise. Do you have a vision for what 5 years from now Daisy Grenade looks like, or what your life looks like?
No. I mean, I have hope. I have hopes and dreams.
Okay, so what do those hopes and dreams look like? Because I do think, as people, we do not say or affirm or write those things down often enough.
I hope I have money.
Okay.
That's a huge one.
But what does having money mean to you? Is that
I hope that I'm not
steady-
having to work a day job and that
Okay.
I can like pay my rent comfortably with my music.
Okay, so steady income from music,
Yeah.
essentially.
Steady. I'm not asking for anything crazy. Just something steady.
Oh, no, I know. In that dating episode, you guys said like $400.
That would
That
be
was
enough.
the most insane thing I'd ever heard. You were like, yeah, I'd quit my day job for $400 a week. I was like,
No.
okay.
I would like to have like be bringing in like at least my rent in a week.
Yeah.
At least.
But that is also for like all those finance gurus and everything else are like, you should be spending 25% of your income on your rent, whatever. So that is a
it's
good
like
goal.
normal.
That is a great, you'd like to just have a healthy, functional income with your job. I think that's a great,
goal.
excellent goal.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you so much. As far as like the band, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of riding the wave as it comes. Like I would like I said, I would like to make like a steady income. And I think like success looks different for everybody, right? Like I don't know exactly what success I think looks like to me. Like I don't know what I'm like. I'm hopeful obviously that we can like be the biggest band in the world.
So what does that look like?
I don't fucking know. I mean like being the biggest band in the world.
Yeah, this is the point of the exercise.
I don't know. Who's the biggest band in the world?
Band? Currently
Yeah.
is tough because artist, I think Taylor Swift.
Yeah, easy.
Band is a lot tougher. Maybe Oasis on this wave, but that remains to be seen. I don't actually know.
I feel like maybe like the 1975.
I don't think it's the 1975.
They're a huge fucking band.
They're huge, but the biggest band in the world.
Biggest band?
I think you get more fanatical, like, sellout crowds for, like, the fucking Grateful Dead experience. Like, there are...
You think?
I think like
I really don't know.
Korean pop, like
Oh,
like
K-pop
bands.
K-pop, we
K-pop
K-pop.
is okay, sure.
different beast.
It's a
Different
different, yeah,
beast.
it's a different beast entirely. But yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know because I'm like, I don't want like a K-pop career, but
But what does being the biggest band in the world look like to you? When you say that, what does that mean?
I don't know.
So,
Like being able to like tour around the world. I mean, like being the biggest band in the world to me is like I don't know. It's a crazy fucking question.
but it's also like kind of a crazy statement as a dream. So I think it is worth fleshing out what that
Well,
means.
Jamie has a thought.
That's a good question from Jamie. I'm going to repeat it because she's not on mic today. But is there a band that you could point to as a comparable or an analog of like that would be it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Fall Out Boy is like a good reference.
And so are we talking like 20, I don't know the year, like 13 era Fall Out Boy of like top of the world at that scene? Or are we talking
not
2024
2013, that's for sure.
Fall Out Boy?
Not Mania. Cut that out. Cut that out.
We're not cutting that.
Not Mania era. No, I mean like from Under the Cork Tree era, Fall Out Boy, Fully Ado era, Fall Out Boy, like. But I mean, I think what's so cool about them is that they have staying power. Okay, you know what's a good one? I hate to make this comparison. Nobody fucking quote me on this. Paramore is a good comparison. Not because we sound like them or because we're women, but because I like their trajectory of their career.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel like any band that has like staying power, where they don't have like a moment and then go away. Like I feel like there are so many bands that have like really, really huge moments and then kind of fade. And I feel like both of those bands are great examples of like they tried a bunch of different things sound wise, and yet they're still releasing albums that are still really fucking good and really solid, and they're still able to go and sell out arenas around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have opportunities to like bring up smaller bands and like do all of that, and I think that's really, really cool.
Well, those are interesting picks to me because the initial question is 5 years. I feel like they because of where they are in their trajectory.
The question that I'm answering is what does it mean to be the biggest band in the world?
True. Okay, that's true. Okay,
because I was like, obviously that's like my hope, but like,
but again, like dream casting for 5 years from now or goal setting for 5 years from now. I think the income, very good one, especially because like that is eminently achievable. I think whether or not it is strictly the music that does it, I think that is pretty achievable.
Totally
within 12 months. Like even like I don't know about the
Slay.
median income, like 78, 80 grand, whatever that gets you to perfectly average in the American society.
I would just like to be average.
But there are means. I mean, we've talked about it already. Whether it's through the branding side, the following side, the digital content side, where there's paths to that income that can be steady enough. The goals for like the vision of the band are tougher because they're a little more existential.
Yeah, I guess like in 5 years, I would obviously really hopefully hope to God in 5 years we have a fucking LP out. Jesus.
I would be really concerned about you guys being a band if you hadn't.
Yeah, put
5 years from now. I'd be like, yeah, that's my friend. They do music.
Kinda.
Like they've done some really cool tours.
No, like obviously I want to help you out, and I also like I want to be like headlining, like sustainably, and I really like the size of like where like Water Parks was at on the first tour that we did. I feel like is maybe achievable in 5 years, which is like a sold out like House of Blues tour, where it's like 2,500 to 5,000 cap rooms, pretty sold out, which is like extraordinarily successful on the grand scheme. You know what I mean?
Top 1% of bands by top probably 1%.
Which is like, I remember we had a meeting with the label like when we first signed, and they were like, listen, success looks very different for every band. Not everybody's going to sell out MSG. And it's like, that's true. Does everybody...
Not only is not everyone going to sell at MSG, like a very small amount of people a year sell out MSG.
Totally. But it's like, that can ultimately, you can believe that you can be the one to do that. And I do in my heart believe that we can. We can, we will, we must. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know, like in 5 years, like I would just like to be in a place, like I said, comfortably like making income on the music. Playing like good sized rooms, like maybe not sold out, but like with a good sized crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I can't stop burping.
Fucking hazy IPAs.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think that's achievable. 5 years from now is what, 2030?
2030-ish, give or take.
5 years from now, I'm going to be so old.
No, you're not.
No, I am.
No, you're not. Like, you're going to be lying about your age, but you will still be very young.
I will at that point, I will be lying about my age.
You will still be very young.
People often think I'm like 22.
That's...
Don't say that that's a stretch.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just saying I don't think you need to lie about your age, because 5 years from now, you will still be young.
That's true.
And I think you need to know that in your heart.
Stretch.
No, I was not.
Yes, you were.
I deny that on all counts.
I'm never beating those allegations, Pete.
It's okay. We have video evidence that I did not say anything.
I cut you off before I could hear it.
That's your interpretation of what happened.
And that's not my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like riding the wave, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I had therapy for the first time today in a long time.
That's big.
So I was like, wow. A lot has happened in my life. She was like, wow, that's a lot. I was like, don't say that.
A lot is... Hearing that's a lot from your therapist is crazy.
She fucking rocks, though. I love her.
There you go.
She's iconic.
Beautiful.
She gave me a book already.
Okay.
I was like, let's go. Let's get
That'll be
into it.
something we check in on like a month.
My therapist.
Yeah. So we'll just check in on that one later. I think that's
Yeah.
an interesting little check-in.
Yeah. Just tell her what she says about all of you people.
Yeah. No, but I think that exercise is important.
Can you do yours now?
Yeah, sure.
I feel embarrassed.
Why do you feel embarrassed? That you should feel embarrassed for. You just went direct into the mic.
I do it on stage all the time.
Okay, this is a medium designed specifically to like input into people's ears.
Well,
You said fuck them.
is this what people do ASMR on? SM7B?
Probably. I bet you some people do.
I don't get ASMR.
I also don't, but Carol loves it. She like does it to
That-
fall asleep, and so I'll walk into like just like the most absurd, like, I'm making chicken and it's so great when I put spice on the chicken. And like
I really don't get it. Like, it does not. Oh, yeah.
it's I don't know, I think it's a calming thing. For some people
I know it does
is,
something for some people, obviously.
but I also get, because I don't necessarily, it doesn't do that for my brain.
No, it doesn't for me
ASMR
either.
sounds, but like really clean edits do it for my brain.
What the fuck does that mean?
Like a really clean visual transition in something
Okay.
will click something in my brain where I go, oh yeah.
Oh, sure.
And so I think that people have that with the audio, and so I get it.
Pimple popping videos does it for me.
See, I've never been a pimple popper person,
You're
but
not
I
into
get
it
it.
either?
I
Oh,
get
God.
it.
Me and Taylor will sit on this couch
I know many people like
for
that.
5 hours.
But it is just
I'm so serious.
5 hours is actually crazy.
When we used to live together, it was actually a problem.
5 hours? Can we project that is 300 minutes? No, yeah, 300 minutes.
Let's not get into the math, okay? It's just... it makes us feel good, okay? We like it. It feels like an exhale. You're like, yes! We will make
That is 18,000 seconds where you're just like, yes, another pimple. Oh, another. This is a great
we find
one.
the good ones that we like and we save them so we can watch them again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. 5 hours is so much time.
I don't know if we've ever actually done it for 5 hours, but I would.
That's 2 long movies back to back.
Yeah, and it's what we prefer to watch, which is pimple popping.
Okay.
Can you do your vision and goals, please?
Yeah, sure. So I think my vision for 5 years from now, I think I would like to be in a place where I can say yes or no to whatever I'd like. And what I mean by that is right now I would say 70 to 80% of my income comes from one employer, like one client, and then I do random freelance stuff. I'm auditioning for stuff.
Yeah.
I just do a bunch of random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this year specifically, now that I've had a stable enough income in life that like my financial picture is not just like a dumpster fire, like it is pretty stable. My view of the future now is about how can I build those sustainable things for myself that don't require me to be working for someone every day. Like I don't mind being an employee. I actually like it, especially when I think the people are creative and it is a space for me to do good work, whatever.
You're not
like
like
that.
dying to work for yourself exclusively.
No, I like working for myself. I think I'm good at that as well. And I'm good at delegating tasks to people, but I don't mind working for someone if I feel like the compensation is right. And like, I don't feel a need to get out of my current job or to bust out of the employer-employee kind of cycle. But I do think like right now I'm kind of in a planting seeds portion of my life. Like this podcast is a seed. It is something that we don't have a guest today, but we're recording an episode because consistently releasing is a way to make this grow and for us to work through it. And it could be something that 5 years from now is really lucrative. Like there's a world where we're not doing this 6 months from now.
I was going to say, fuck you, and then say our guest name, and we could just bleep it out. I won't do that, though.
I mean, it's fine. I think he's going to be like within the next month on the show.
Well, I don't have anything to do with it.
So
just kidding.
Maybe
what if the entire dynamic of the interview is that I hate him?
Maybe the first 10 minutes of the interview is us forcing him to watch us venting in this interview about the fact that he didn't show up.
I'm just going to be so clear. I actually don't give a fuck, but I do think it's funny as a bit to be mad at him.
Sure. But okay, so like this podcast is a seed that is not a huge investment on a time money wise that could turn into something lucrative. I have 2 other ideas like that in different phases.
Are you going to be cagey about them like you were about this podcast?
Partially because one of the ideas I do not want stolen. And
you think I'm going to steal your idea? Oh no, this is going on the internet.
This is going out publicly. And I literally
you think me and Jamie are going to steal your idea?
No, but I pitched this idea to someone earlier today in a meeting, and it is something that is a long-term idea for me.
Sure.
That I think could make a decent amount of money. But it is about, I will just say it is like an idea built around like theater and entertainment education.
Okay.
And creating low-cost alternatives in the education space. That's a business idea that is a long-term seed that I'm working on. And the third side is director, writer, producer, performer, Peter Brain, like where I have a concept for 3 individual stories that kind of work in ultimately in tandem of like would either be 3 30-minute like singular episodes that are a part of one longer story, or I think I would like to be just producing more
of your own work,
narrative based work.
Okay.
That either is me as an actor or me as a producer or me as a director in different parts of the role, but kind of can be malleable.
The Slippers don't know. That's what I'm calling them now.
Okay.
The Slippers.
But
they don't know that you've written 2 shows?
At least. At least 2 musicals that went up.
2 musicals that have been like produced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple random shows and like a lot of stuff for the internet, like mostly sketch stuff, but
like 2 like full-length ass musicals.
But I have an idea in my brain that I would like to, within the next year or so, have in production for what would eventually be like about 90 minutes of stuff that will live on the internet that I would call independent television. Will end up being YouTube videos, most likely, in the way that they're produced. But I would hope that those are stepping stones, either as a performer, where I can use that as real footage on a performance level, but also on a producer, writer, director level, where that just means that like I don't necessarily need to be consistently on a show or in like films or whatever, but I think having those options
Yeah.
and in turn being able to say no. Because if anyone asks me to act on camera right now, I'm going to do it.
Of course.
Because of the nature of my life right now.
Yeah.
But also like if anyone
I
asks
pay a
me
lot
to
of drug
make
addicts on cop shows.
Oh, yeah, no, you have no idea. I just submitted a role for the audition I am most excited about right now is me playing I have gotten great feedback on. I'm submitting a second tape for them this week is like
Drug addict?
no, it's so much like
What is it? Come on.
it's a Nazi.
Pete.
And I got really good feedback and
This is like, that makes sense for you, no offense. Not on your personal level, but
No,
if you wore the wrong thing.
So no, here's the thing. There's two sides to this. One, I had a professor in college who I actually think was right. Where I did a Shakespeare program abroad and I played.
Oh, I know about your
Only-
Shakespeare program abroad.
Relax. I did, but I played two evil people in the shows I did with them, and he was like, "I honestly think you're really good at being evil, and you
Yeah.
will play evil and bad characters for the
Honey.
rest of your life." But
Sure.
he was like, yeah, it's something you kind of just have to lean into, like being good at being evil. And then I also think because most of what I'm auditioning for is now on camera,
Yeah.
from the aesthetics of recent American history and recent European history, I look like all of the bad guys,
Well,
which I think is fine. I've embraced.
Most
And
of
when I
us
grow
look
my
like
hair
all
out,
the bad guys.
I look like I could
Yep,
be an
I
addict.
know what you're saying. I know what
School
you're saying.
shooter. I can cover your demographics for you,
Sure.
baby.
It's like what Logan Jones says, that when he goes in for TV shows, his mom says, buying or selling.
Yeah. But I've embraced that. And the thing that I'm writing, the character that I would play in it, which would be a small part in the greater story, is evil.
I like that. It's a good skill to have.
Yeah. That one,
I also think good people are the only people that can really play evil roles really well, to be honest.
I would agree and disagree. I think Kevin
Okay.
Spacey is really good at playing evil people, and it's because he's fucking evil.
Kevin Spacey.
This will probably get covered in the pod because I don't want to give him airtime. But,
Yeah, no, don't.
But he is, I think, legitimately evil person, and he plays a motherfucker well.
So true.
Um,
God, that's a bummer.
But yeah, no, it is a weird thing to be like, oh yeah, like whenever my mom calls me and she's like, oh, what are you auditioning for, whatever, and I want to tell her, and I'm like, oh yeah, because if she called me this week, I would tell her about like the audition went really well.
What's the TV show? Can you say?
It's a movie.
Oh, movie. Feature?
Yes.
Slay.
I'm not sure, but it's funny because I auditioned for two movies this week. One is the Nazi, the other is a dirtbag boyfriend.
Yeah.
But the Nazi part, I did get like positive feedback on, had a good first audition, and I'm submitting for them again.
Good.
So like,
Is this the one that you emailed about yesterday?
yes.
Oh, nice.
So this was also in what I'm trying to do more for myself because I haven't followed up on an audition in a long time.
Yeah,
But
good for you.
I had this audition. It was a live session because I like self-taping, it's fine. But if you're given the opportunity for a live session, I take it because they've kind of disappeared after COVID. Like
the issue I have with self-tapes is like nobody in their right mind, like as an actor, you don't go into a room and you're just guessing for what they want. You have no idea.
Well, I actually like certain parts of self-tape being like, I'm making a decision and you're either going to like it or not. And like, I think the casting directors who bring me in consistently now at least know I'm like making a choice and we're going for it.
Yeah.
And like,
sure.
I think that's fine about self-tapes. The last TV job I got was a self-tape where I literally never talked to anyone until they offered me the job. But COVID, I think, has just eliminated in-person auditions entirely,
Oh, that
especially for
sucks.
film and TV. But they will give you the opportunity sometimes with television and film auditions to do a live like Zoom session. And I really love a live session because it's just so much better. You can talk to the casting
it's like
director,
they
you get
want-
feedback,
They should want to know how you can be directed,
how you can be directed, but also like
how well you take it.
I'm making guesses about what I think this scene
Exactly.
is. If they've read the script
And they know.
then I
want them to tell me.
But so what's funny about this audition, I had the
Not a
live audition
genius.
last Friday and it went well, but the casting director was very candid where she was like, I've been working all the other scenes throughout this whole week. This is the first time I've read the scene with someone. So I
don't really know what it is.
I have about 60% of an idea of what this is right now. We're going to have to find it. And I was like, that's great. And so we did it once. She said, okay, I think this beat needs to be more pronounced. We did it again. And she was like, great, I'm pretty content with how that is. How do you feel? And I was like, I feel like we got 75% of the way there. And she was like, do you want to do it again? And I was like, no, because while we're 75% figured out, I don't think doing it again is going to be what solves the problem. Like it is just we got as far as we will get it today. And that's the thing. And then over the weekend, I was thinking about the scene.
Yeah, like we're not doing table work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, it's we're having a quick conversation about it,
Yeah,
and
we're
I was
getting
going to
in
do
and
it
getting
again. But over the weekend, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, here's the beat I missed. Like here is because this is a 6-7 line scene, and we had defined 2 beats, and the 2 beats worked, and they were content. And I was like, oh, here's the 3rd beat in the middle of the scene. And so for the first time in a long time, I emailed my agent and was like, hey, can we reach out to the casting director for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to send a quick thank you because it was nice to have a live audition. And she also was like, I like that you chose to do a live audition. Like most people would do a self-tape. And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to do it. Like that was really nice. So I wanted to say thank you. And I figured something else out with the scene. Yeah. So I just feel it. And so then I got another round of feedback. She said, remember these 4 details, like submit a new one by Friday.
Slay.
And that in itself is more feedback than you get from most auditions ever.
No, yeah.
But it's also me deciding, no, I would like to
I want to do this.
Actually like advocate for myself in this.
Yeah.
I see the thing. It is funny because it is for a, let me say it again, Nazi, which is a weird thing about being an actor. But it's also funny because like I have a good relationship with my agent where she called me and was like, hey, I think this is totally fine to pass along. You also never make requests of what we're doing, so I'm happy to like help facilitate this.
Yeah, of course. That's cool.
But yeah, it is like very much like, I don't know. It is weird to, when I was younger, I did that a lot more, where I would follow up on auditions. I would be more brazen about just cold emailing people.
I think, like what we were talking about with Hannah, like I think the BFA kind of beats that out of you a little bit.
I really think it does. Yeah. And I also think like
it beats the delusion out of you a bit.
I also think like when you are that type of person, like there's a world where that casting director doesn't respond or just like isn't cool about it and doesn't have more like things like I saw enough, we're good.
I just
like,
can't even imagine why though. I'm like, if someone cares enough to like reach back out and be like, hey, I think I found, not like, can you see?
I agree with you, but I think like as the person on the other side who never gets feedback, or like the actors who are often just submitting into a void, it can feel intimidating to do that. And I have sent plenty of cold email where I either regretted it the next day or where I just got like not the response I wanted or anything else. But
talk about something.
let's hit it. But I'm really happy I did because she was really cool about it. She sent good feedback that will be helpful in me doing it. Mm-hmm. And I'll get another pass at the scene with a new element of it that I actually think is like the missing dynamic.
Yeah.
And so even if I don't get that job, I have a real relationship with that casting director now. She has a better sense of like how I work in my brain for the scene. I'm getting the chance to get seen by them again. This is a casting director I had never been in for also, which like most of the casting directors in New York at this point, I've submitted something for them or I've had some dialogue with them. But like this was someone I met for the first time that Friday. And like, even if it was a good experience and it was a no, that memory only goes so far if you have one conversation via Zoom random Friday.
Yeah.
And you don't see that person for another 8 months or 10 months, like the auditions sometimes will go. Until they're working on a project where you align again.
Right.
And so it's even just a way to like firm up a real relationship.
Yeah, totally.
And so I don't know. I think the places where I'm putting my seeds are, what a funny way to say that. Where I'm planting seeds are as an actor, director, writer, and producer. Okay, like I shouldn't have highlighted it, but
I wouldn't have thought about it until you said it.
I didn't until the moment I thought about it, and then I was like, okay, we're
okay.
Here. Wait, so you said you wanted to say something about emails you regret, I think.
Yeah. I sent an email on Monday.
Oh, it was this week. I thought the way you like prefaced that it was going to be an email you regretted from like a couple years ago.
No, it's
like
Wednesday and I already regret it.
That's awesome.
I sent an email to the head of my college department, who is not the department head.
Got it.
That I was in school with, but was adjunct faculty at the time. I don't know how much I want to say. But
You have to say all of it now.
I know this man does not like me.
Why?
I mean, there could be a million reasons.
For context, you went to the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music.
Sure, yeah. Sure did.
Very, very competitive BFA musical theater program. One of the best in the country. Like one of the
Only topped by the University of Michigan.
Here's the thing:
SMTD.
we can say that we have been out of the college musical theater game for a long time. I
At the
actually
time.
don't know at the time when we went for sure.
Oh.
I don't know what how these programs are doing now. I actually Michigan just brought in a new head who I'm really excited about.
Who is it?
Cynthia Westfall, who is
Oh, I like her.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And is not only very good at her job, a very good educator, but also like a disciple of Brown Wagner, who was like the person who founded and made the program.
Yeah.
Like it is as good a hire as they could make. So that makes me excited. That said, I've been out of that program for a long time. I believe in certain professors. I don't know how competitive they are within the landscape because I don't.
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
Okay, so you emailed the head of CCM, and
because I'm playing Cincinnati this year in November, and recently a friend of mine is adjunct faculty at Baldwin-Wallace MT.
Okay.
And asked us to go teach a masterclass in like rock singing or like pop rock, whatever, which we had a bunch of when I was at school. Like I remember people coming in and like whatever, and it is, I'll tell you what, necessary to teach those musical theater kids how to sing pop music, because all of musical theater is pop music. And I think it's probably different now, where it's like so geared towards that nowadays that I think it's probably like a different skill set. So I was like, I'm gonna be there in November. I'm just gonna reach out and say, hey, we're gonna go do this at Baldwin-Wallace. Obviously, I would love to do it at my alma mater. Dead silence.
What day is it? It's Wednesday. It's been 2 days.
I sent it. I guess that's true. I sent it on Monday morning.
I guess we'll know by the time this airs if it's been cut or not, whether or not he got a response.
It was risky because my time at school was filled with strife in many ways. I don't do well with authority in general.
No. No.
I don't. And I had a hard time my first 2-3 years. But I guess my first 2 years I had a hard time. And then I kind of like figured out how to like exist in it. I also hadn't gone to school for a full year since the 4th grade by the time I went to college. So I was like, I didn't know how to like be in school.
Yeah.
Or like be around the same people every day. That was very foreign to me. But the program head when I was there, Aubrey Berg, who is a controversial figure. I loved him. I thought he was a great teacher. I thought he was a tough person, but I thought he was a great teacher. He was retired when I was, I guess, the year after I left.
Okay.
After I graduated, which I did do, by the way. There's many different accounts on the internet of whether or not I graduated college.
Who is speculating about whether or not you graduated
kids
college?
That go there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because who cares?
I don't know, but I fucking tweeted a picture of my goddamn degree. And I was like, for all of you still talking about this, I did get my degree.
That blows my mind that people would be talking about it. But then again, musical theater bullshit is musical theater bullshit.
There's always lore. You know, there's like lore about people who came before you, whatever. And it's like, she didn't graduate. I'm like,
That's
yes,
a hilarious bit of lore.
I worked my
especially
ass off.
because it's just not true.
It's just simply not true. Like, I do have a degree hanging on my wall at my parents' house.
In the spirit of emails we regret, I just have one quick story.
Emails we regret is an incredible album name.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter's emails I can't send.
And like I will say,
regret.
but one of the most memorable for me, I was just out of college. I had been like, in my mind, going back and forth with this manager about potentially signing with them. They're a pretty big manager in New York. There was no way they were ever going to sign me. In hindsight, now knowing
so
like how that was going. But I remember we had set up a relationship where I could email them with like questions and they would sometimes just send me some helpful stuff in response. And I found out from a job I was working. This is why. Fun lesson, why you should always discuss your salary with your fellow employees.
Sure.
I found out on a job I was working on a weekend trip that someone I was working with was making basically like 5 times what I was making for a weekend. But I found out I was making significantly less than someone else on the tour with me. And we were like in the Chicago airport. We had just like eaten an edible and we were having the conversation. And so I came up on this edible, was like so high on the flight back and anxious and thinking about like, I'm not making enough. Like, how do I renegotiate this? So I wrote this manager like must have been 2-page email just about the frustrating nature of my situation and how do I make it better. And you
were not
the moment this plane landed, popped that email and was like, sent it. And just was like looking for advice, but also just like what the real advice was like, I needed to quit this job or confront them about salary. I did the latter and it led to me quitting because of how the next week played out. But it was funny because I remember it had been like 10 days and I was like, oh my God, I sent that email like a week and a half ago to this person. And I went to my inbox and I just sent them a follow-up really quick. It was like, hey, this was a lot. I resolved it and quit. Sorry about that. And they just responded, good for you. Those 3 words. And that was it. And I have not spoken. I've run into them once on the streets. That's it in New York. But
good for you is so crazy.
It was.
Oh my God.
It was just one of those things where like it was really polite of them to respond there because I sent them a really it was 2 pages of just anxiety about me not knowing how to negotiate contracts, which would be what a manager might be helpful for, but like wasn't my manager. Was just like a nicer like person in their 30s who sometimes responded to my emails, and like
I accidentally FaceTimed Pete once twice yesterday.
Nice.
I was my phone was in my pocket and it kept opening.
Nice.
And I had texted him to be like, I am so sorry. I'm perfectly fine and did not mean to do that. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. He was like, okay, lol.
Anyway, I think that's glass slipping.
That was cocktail hour glass slipping.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks so much for watching, listening, and
cheers, fuckers.
Cheers.